Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. I don't know why Tran's already laughing, but we're about to do our season preview series. Very excited to do it. I don't know if you have the case. What's going on, Tran? What's going
No,
on?
I'm just laughing at how serious you are today. We were talking about this beforehand. You're ready. You're ready to go.
Ready to go, man.
It's like you're about to debate me.
dude. It's when we about to talk ball, man. I gotta get in the zone, man. I'm locked in, bro. It's
That's what you gotta
19
be.
days. 19 days until the season starts. We locked in over here. Man, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and show us some love. We're getting ready. We're getting ready to jump into our season preview series. For those of you who follow us on Twitter, there's the Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. There's the Insta. Follow us on all platforms. But most importantly, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, like the video, the whole bit. We're excited to get into our 2021 Texas football season preview series, starting with our breakout players, something we do annually. It's our third annual breakout players Tran.
Mhm.
And we got to go back in the past. I like reflecting, how do we do, Tran? Do you remember who we had when we first did this in 2019? That was our list. If you don't, I can recap the names.
2019, the only person I could probably think of is maybe your boy Joseph Osai. I think that's where your love came from him. Started, but
So our 2019 list, if I go 1 through 5, number 1 was actually Devin Duvernay, which I think we were.
Yep, we were right on that.
We hit that right on the money. Number 2 was BJ Foster, who's still on the team with us.
Mhm.
Keandre Coburn was number 3, who's one of our captains. Number 4 was Joseph Osai. And number 5 was Jordan Whittington. So that was our 2019 projections for our top 5 breakout players on the team. I think we did okay there.
I'd say 3 out of 5. I'd say 3 out of 5 on that one.
So 2020, we did it again. Number 1 through 5, we had Jake Smith, number 1, who is, God bless him, he's out for the season. Now a member of the USC Trojans, aka Texas West. And hopefully we wish him the best with his foot and recovery, because we all want to see Jake ball. I think Jake can be terrific and Graham Harrell's offense if given the opportunity, assuming that Clay Helton is not fired after this season.
Right.
No shade there. So number 2, Chris Adamora for 2020. Number 3 was Joshua Moore. Number 4 was Bijan Robinson. And number 5 was Alfred Collins. So we had a couple freshmen, actually 3 freshmen on that list. And I think after Jake Smith, everybody was pretty solid, and Bijan obviously became a star. So, we feel good about our predictions as fans coming into the season. So, Tran, you excited to get into 2021?
Of course, talking football. Why wouldn't I be excited?
He's like, knock it off, Steve. All right. So, without further ado, our number 5 player in the 2021 breakout player series. Remember, guys, breakout players, people who have not, either, we're
not talking best.
We're not talking best players, but guys that we think could potentially make all conference, potentially be a significant piece, a significant factor to the team, even if you're not necessarily all conference per se, but have a significant role in the outcome of this season. So our 5 breakout guys. Without further ado, number 5 is Jerrin Thompson, who is been working at safety, been working at nickel. Tran, why do we have him here on the breakout player list?
I mean, we saw some flashes of him towards the end of the season. We saw that pick again in Kansas State. We saw him drop a pick in the Colorado game, and it seemed like he was all over the place from a tackling perspective and from the Colorado game. So it looked like his name, we were circling him around the whole game. Another big reason why we selected him was we like to take players' word for it, and especially someone who actually played the position. And Caden gushed about him. He's like, "That's little bro. He's going to be a baller. Just watch." So, we saw, like I said, we saw flashes of it. The stats right now, I mean, him being a freshman, he only played 5 games, had 10 tackles, but he had a pick, and he also had a pass defended that we discussed for the Colorado game. I'm just going to see. I feel like he just has that knack for the ball. That he's just going to be around the ball a lot.
I like that point about Caden Stearns, because I think I even told Caden that he reminded me of him. And they call him Bug, and you look at him being ready to play right away. That's kind of because Caden Stearns was obviously ready to play day one, the moment he stepped on a college football field. And Jerrin Thompson, when he got that start against Kansas State, you could tell not only he had been waiting and excited to play, but he was prepared. And so that's one of the things that really, really I look at with young guys, young players, where they have that maturity and they just seem to know where the ball is, nose to the ball, good energy. Seems like he has out there from all the reports that we've been able to read, making the acclamation to, PK's defense, what Terry Joseph wants to do on the back end, that positional versatility, where they're like, hey, we feel comfortable with him playing nickel. We feel comfortable with him playing safety. And for him to be talked about with very popular guys right now. I mean, we had this Chris Adamore on this list last year. Chris Adamore hasn't regressed, right? Like, he's still a very, very good player. My boy, Anthony Cook, I could have easily put him right here. Arguably the best player out of the scrimmage this past weekend. So you look at what these 3 guys really bring to the table in that nickel and the positional versatility will have them match up with guys. What gives the edge to Jerrin Thompson, though, is what you mentioned. Nose to the football, hands on the football, and being able to make plays. So very excited to see what he can do in year 2 on this team in the defensive backfield. So I want to move on to a guy that's one of your personal favorites for number 4, Tran. I owe you an apology when it comes to this player. So let's get to number 4, Moro Ojomo. So Tran, go ahead and say your piece, brother.
So last year we actually worked till really late one night, and we were actually arguing over who we should have in the list. And he was a person I think I had number 5 on our list, and I just felt that our defensive line was going to be a strong suit for us. We ended up going with the young guy, which was a smart move because Alfred Collins is a monster, and I think he's going to be a monster for us for the next 2 years. I think with our defensive line having another year of college football weight training on them, and a new type of coach to work in those fast twitch muscles, I think with Keandre Colburn there and with Collins there, or Vernon Broughton, whoever they throw in there as well, he's going to get a lot of one-on-ones. And I know just from his size and his speed that he can win those one-on-ones a lot more often than not. And when he gets those, I mean, that's when he just needs to do his job, and that's when he should eat. He didn't really start playing that often until later on the season. And I mean, he had 10 tackles, and if you look at it, you're like, oh, he only had 10 tackles, but the person who led our team last year was at 31 tackles. So he wasn't that far off when he's not playing the second level as well. So I feel if he's getting those one-on-ones, you're gonna see the sacks go up. I would say probably a good number for him, maybe 4 to 5 sacks for the season. And then I would like to see the tackles at like 20 to 25 range. But the big thing,
it's also more games too, right? Like we only played 10 football games last year, including the bowl game. So the stats, everybody's stats are a little short, if you will.
Yeah. And one of the things that he could actually affect the game a lot more with are the passes defended at the line of scrimmage too. So if you got that one-on-one on someone, you get those big mitts up and knock balls down. That's not, winning on first down would be fantastic like that. So
I think you made some great points there, and I just want to add that this young man. So you brought up the physical nature of not just Moro, but like a lot of the guys on the defensive line and their maturation. I think we're about to see, it's kind of in phases, right? Like I think a couple years ago we felt like we were really talented on the defensive line. I think last year we felt like under Chris Ash and Oscar Giles did a really good job. We didn't, and obviously Joseph Osai getting more pass rush opportunities, he was able to eat. I think we felt like once everybody kind of knew what the defense was, we were pretty straight. Chris Ash, Oscar Giles, like defensive line was solid. It was one of the strongest points of the team. It was one of the points of the team coming into this season. Us as fans collectively felt was one of our positions of strength, right? With the running back room, right? And so with what we're seeing now, though, I think they have an opportunity. And I was listening to DeMarvion Overshone and the show he has over on Orange Bloods, and just different guys talking about this. I think they have an opportunity to be great and be a great defensive line. And one of the reasons why is when you look at the depth that they have. So Keandre Coburn, who a lot of this thing revolves around him in the middle, him in the nose, the point of attack, whether it's PK's defense, whether it's Chris Ash's defense, that mechanism there makes life easier for everybody, right? Then you take him out and you go T Sweat, no drop off, right? And then there's some things that T Sweat can do that are even more advantageous for Texas. But you're always going to have that person paired next to a Ojomo, next to a Alfred Collins, next to a Vernon Broughton, now next to a Byron Murphy.
Yep.
Like these names that keep popping up.
Jacoby Jones.
These dudes, Jacoby Jones, if you want to go all the way out to like 4I, which Ojomo played out there a little bit. And then the physical maturation part. Another reason why I'm as a breakout player. I think Ojomo's just now turning. He's in year 4. He's going to year 4 in the program. He's just now turning 20. So I think he graduated high school when he was 16. So like body wise, like just everything going on.
He's
developing. If you listen to him talk, like he's one of those kids where you just know like his future is way beyond football. Like he wants to be an attorney. So that tells you everything you need to know about the brother upstairs, right? And what his gifts are, right? He's just like our friend Tope. And I just look at, he's rocking the 98. My Nigerian brothers out here, y'all know, what Brian Arakpo did when he was here and the whole bit. I am a fan of Mr. Ojomo. I was not on board as early as you were, all the way going back to last year. But you saw enough flashes even last year. And that was with even, somebody like Taquan Graham taking up a lot of attention as well. So there's so many pieces, so many names we just mentioned that you really can't concentrate on one dude. And so those one-on-ones are going to be key coming into this season and wreaking havoc in the Big 12. Let's get to number 3 because this is going to make the numbers just go through the roof. We've never had a quarterback.
We have
all those names. It's the first time we've had a quarterback because General Ellinger has been the constant. And now we have Hudson Card.
Card looking left. Oh, what a throw! What a window open late, but Marcus Washington was there and Card saw.
There was no window, Lowell. There was no window.
Again, recording as of August 16th on a Monday. I don't know when hopefully you guys will see the video as soon as possible. But as of the date of this recording, we have now heard about the scrimmage. And we've now heard about the practice sans scrimmage. All the reporting going on out there, depending on who you follow. But as of today, Justin Wells of Inside Texas broke the report that Hudson Card did take majority of the snaps at the ones. Now, that is just one practice, but they had pretty much been 50-50 from my understanding. We know in the spring game, Casey Thompson really took pretty much every single snap of the one, spring game that we saw. So when we look at this, the point the reason why I'm going, and I think we kind of made that decision saying, you know what, this is about an outlook of what these guys can develop into. And ultimately, there has to be a quarterback on this list because it's Steve Sarkisian's offense.
Of course.
Whoever the trigger man is, that person's going to be dynamite. I have no doubt in my mind about that. It's just a question of who's going to get that opportunity. And I think when you're looking at somebody who's been in the program for 4 years versus somebody who's been in the program for 2 years, and if the players are that close, you always typically go with the younger man. And I know a lot of people are going to comment right now and say, well, Steve, Tran, what happens if Casey Thompson, likes to transfer? All those types of things. You can't lie to the players in practice, though. And if somebody is outperforming somebody else and we're holding everybody to the same measures of accountability across all positions, then we have to do what's right for the football team. And I think that's a very real conversation that has to happen. But Tran, I'm curious to get your thoughts here on Hudson Card and this whole quarterback outlook.
So I want to kind of piggyback on the last thing that you mentioned is like you have to hold everyone else accountable. The first thing that Steve Sarkisian said is that he feels like Texas is a professional program and it needs to be held as such and ran as such. The best players play in the NFL. Let's be honest. If Casey Thompson isn't producing as well as Hudson Card, who should honestly get the starting nod? Hudson Card should. We have heard conflicting information on how many interceptions Casey Thompson has threw in the scrimmage. But to me, I look at it this way: is that you're playing against the same defense for the past 3 weeks. You kind of know what they're supposed to be doing, and if you're throwing multiple interceptions in a scrimmage, that's not a good look. Yes, it's one game, and everyone deserves to have a bad game. Everyone deserves that. I see upside in both of them, but the players are smart. They know who the coach is going to go with. So if we're having the conversation of Casey Thompson transferring, then he's going to be the first one to know whether he's got the starting job or not. He's going to know it beforehand.
Well, I think you also have to look at it from a standpoint of engagement, and that's just where the relationship comes in terms of honesty and what Steve Sarkisian's track record has been when it comes to quarterbacks, because he really has picked one guy and ridden him out in the past. I don't think there's been too many times where he's waffled between guys, right? And he's had success with that going back to the USC days. We know, he mentioned this is probably the toughest battle he's had since Matt Leinart and Matt Castle. In that situation, he went with the younger guy, Matt Leinart, both unproven, coming off of Carson Palmer. He goes Matt Leinart, but Matt Castle obviously went on to have a more successful NFL career. So things can be that close, right? And I don't want this to be like, oh, Steve, why blah, blah, blah. I'm going off of right now, just like everybody else is, including the people that are insiders, are going off their sources. All I've seen is the spring, which I can only take with a grain of salt because they were in different situations. And then what Casey Thompson did. I've watched Hudson Card in person at Lake Travis in high school. He was awesome in 6A Texas high school football. No doubt about it. But we've seen people be awesome and then just something doesn't click at the next level. So that doesn't give you a guaranteed shoe-in. Just like one bowl game performance doesn't give you a guaranteed shoe-in. But I know a lot of Texas fans who may not keep up with every single thing day to day may be saying, dude, this is crazy. Like, this guy, Casey Thompson, came in, balled out in a crazy situation. How's he not getting that first opportunity? How's he not getting that first look? But
he is.
That's
the answer. Is he is? Is he holding up his end of the bargain?
Right. You got to meet me halfway.
Aside from this, I know you got one thing that falls under Hudson Card is the powerful name. You have the powerful name theory. So all quarterbacks have to have a specific name for you.
It's a certain thing, man. Sam Ellinger, Dak Prescott. That's why I said they sound like generals. Hudson Card. These names are interesting. Colt McCoy, right? Like, just names they fascinate me. But even with coaches too, it's very interesting. But I want to say this too: if Casey Thompson, if he ends up winning the job, then put him right here at number 3.
Yeah,
it really should be titled
interchangeable.
It's interchangeable. It should be really titled whoever wins the starting quarterback job, because that's how I feel about the situation. I'm just putting Hudson Card right here, and I think we decided to do that because it's like that's where, if the reps are going that way, and that's the younger man who has the upside, then so be it. But Casey Thompson with the, he clearly has upside, and I think he could go several different places in the Power 5 and make a team better and give them good quarterback play. No doubt about it. And probably a system that really, really is catered to his needs. So, yeah, it does make me nervous that if, things don't go his way, he could say, you know what, I've been loyal to the soil with this program for so long, but enough's enough. I got to do what's best for me and find my situation now, get ahead of the recruits, get ahead of the other people that are going to hit the transfer portal, all those dudes in the Ohio State quarterback room, and find the team now so that, I can go ahead and get a head start on everything else a year from now.
Yeah.
But at the same token, that's where that engagement, that coaching has to come in with Steve Sarkisian, with AJ Milwee, and say, look, brother, we need you.
Yeah. And
we need you to take another one for the team, whether you're the guy or not. This is still your team, and do what's best for us. But we'll see how that plays out, because I would not feel one bit of anger towards Casey Thompson if he decided to bounce. Wouldn't. But
not at all.
Y'all let us know who you think. So number 2, let's move forward. Christian Jones. So we just touched on the most important position, quarterback. Got some of my I was dying. Trey, you start talking.
So Christian Jones, we were just talking about the quarterback play, and some of the quarterback play's best friends are the tackles. And Christian Jones, honestly, from an eagle-eyed view, is a prototypical tackle in the NFL. Was he 6'6", 320, long, lean, and physical. The things that we ran into last year was a big learning curve for him. It looked like his technique was a little bit off, but like I said, with proper coaching, you can't teach size, and he has that prototypical size. And I feel with the coaching that we have in place right now, I feel like he has the ability to just start just owning the line of scrimmage and start being that guy we need someone to be on the offensive line.
I like Christian Jones because athletically he fits the mold. Right? Like, when you look at these tackles in the league, he's kind of have that basketball player athleticism, right? And when you watch him pass off blocks last year, there's instances on film where a guy's coming in through a certain gap, he hits over here and he's able to slide over and get his feet in place and wall a guy off. That was some high level stuff.
Yes.
So for all the mistakes he had, mostly in the run blocking department, in my opinion, he had a lot of potential. And one of the things you look for is how well does a guy move his feet, especially at the left tackle position? Hands-on man, is he strong at the point of attack? And then can he get downfield as a lead blocker in the run game, which was something that Sam Cosmi was really, really good at. I think with Christian Jones, when you hear all the reports since spring, best offensive lineman on the team. Now I'm hearing reports about consistency. And I think you nailed it before. Coaching. Herb Hand's gone. You insert Kyle Flood. Might be the biggest upgrade we've had out of all the coaches. So with Kyle Flood being in here and providing, hey, watching tape of guys like Alex Leatherwood and all the guys from Bama that have come before, and even guys that are there now, who are going to be really, really good. Christian Jones has that physique and that body that the NFL looks for with that athleticism. I think this is the year, from what we're hearing in practice, going back to the point we made about Casey Thompson and that consistency behind the scenes. I think what we're hearing now is he's putting everything together, and he's going to have a good showcase year for NFL scouts, because we need this for him. We need this for him. And I think that's a point of emphasis, not just for pass protection, because I will say this. One thing I did notice is a weakness for Hudson Card is his pocket presence, at least for me. And that's normally very typical with young quarterbacks. So the better we can be up front and better we can be in pass pro, the more effective the quarterback's, more comfortable they'll be. And then the run game. Bijan Robinson built around the run, hopefully with that uptick with Kyle Flood being better. I think we have to feel really, really good about Christian Jones being here, right here as our number 2 breakout player for 2021.
Yeah, think about it this way too. We started off the list with someone who was young and had to develop into his body. Started off the list in number 4 was Moro Ojomo, that we said once he got in the weight conditioning program. I mean, this is the same with Christian Jones. From a knowledge aspect where he's actually learning the game a little bit more, to actually putting on the proper weight that he needs to match his athletic build. I feel like him being a junior this year, it should start clicking. And like I've read about him multiple times of other people who don't even follow Texas, they say he stands out just from a viewing perspective, not even watching tape, just when they see him on the sideline. So I feel like it's gonna click this year, and we need him to click this year, honestly.
For sure. And I'm sorry, I don't know if the Delta variant just slid into my chest or whatever. I don't know what the hell's going on, or if it's Lambda, but I'm trying to make it through the rest of the video. Anyway, Christian Jones, the last thing I'll say, he was probably at times, especially early in last season, the weak link. And this is why I don't just leave breakout lists to people that haven't played at all. You got to look at it, in a standpoint of like, I think he could go from like the most inexperienced dude. Yeah, he started at right tackle last year, but the uptick, he could be I think he has the ability to be all conference. I really, really feel that way. So our number 1 player is somebody who we've had on the list before, and somebody who has had their share of challenges at the University of Texas, and not their fault, right? More so in the injury department, but this guy has stepped up as a leader. We've been I think one of the recurring themes we've had is consistency, and really just at a time where a lot of people are struggling, he seems to be one of those guys where we constantly keep hearing good things about him. So Jay Witt is going to be our number 1 player, number 1 breakout player, somebody we had on the list in 2019 as a true freshman when he came from Cuero. But a lot of people feeling like, hey, he's going to lead this team in receptions. He's going to be schemed open. He's going to have a lot of opportunities on screens, on bubbles, on shallow crosses. But also I want to see if he's the same athlete that we saw when he came out, getting down the field, stretching the field, challenging the defense, short, intermediate, vertically, and getting those opportunities. Because you look at his receptions and yards from last year, that's not even 10 yards. That's like 9.8 yards per catch, right? So getting that number up with the volume of catches, I think he could have, we saw that finally click for Devin Duvernay. And I know Devin didn't have the injury issues that Jordan's had, but just we always knew he was a good football player. Like, that was never the question. And I not to take a whole bunch away from the spring game, but I just like the way he was being used. Like the way he looked. Looks healthy. looks good, looks fluid, looks quick, looks sudden.
Yes.
So these are all
So
pluses.
that's one of the things. I think with him being out so often, he was in the weight room a lot because he was looking. He wasn't looking like a normal slot. He was looking like he was doing pull ups during during film sessions. So I mean, he looks a little bit more lean, which attributes to his suddenness and his quickness that we've been seeing on the clips from practice. But to reiterate, when you're breaking in a new quarterback in a new system, and one guy's name keeps popping up, who do you think they're going to be targeting? They're going to be targeting him. And I feel if he, of course, this goes into, if he stays healthy, he's going to lead the team in receptions. He may not lead in total yards, but he'll lead the team in receptions. He's a jack of all trades. I mean, we looked up his high school stats. We went all the way back to his high school stats where, he played both ways. He's a free safety and receiver, running back. I think he even threw some passes sometimes. But his whole career, he had almost 6,000 total yards in 3 years of high school football. That to me shows that he had very little tread when it came to college football. So him taking off, I don't know the stat right now of how many games he's played in the last 2 years, but I mean him taking off the extended time to actually work on his health and work on it. I think it only benefits him.
6 games.
6 games in 2 years.
I think he's played 6 games in 2 years. Mm-hmm.
And he had a surgery his first year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't have one last year, right?
I think on his groin, he had to redo it.
Yeah, but they didn't do it last year. It was all 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, him usually it takes you a little while, just about a year to get over his surgery. And to me, with all the reports and everything like that, it seems like he's getting used to his body and he's getting more confident in his body, which that's just, it should be a huge bright spot for this team.
I think that's something that Troy O'Mara is struggling with right now, to be honest with you, in terms of really, really, really getting to the point where he's just fully, trusting everything. And I know I said that in the spring game with Troy too, when I was watching him run. Like, I'm like, he's, he doesn't look bad, but he's not, what we saw from some of the clips a year ago, or what
it looks like he was going 3/4 speed as opposed to full speed. Yeah, full go.
And that leads me to another thing, right? Like right now, this is kind of the disadvantage of college football versus the NFL, because this past weekend we saw all these rookies. We're getting to see them, right? And so it's one thing to read a practice report or read something from a journalist or whatever. It's another thing to see it with your own eye and to see how it plays out. And I think that's why we're having a lot of perception conversations right now at Texas. So we're reading that Jordan Whittington is doing all these things behind the scenes and he's balling. I'm not doubting it, right? But I think we as Texas fans are just waiting to see that really, really pop off on a consistent basis in the games, because we don't have a preseason. They're going to have an open practice on Wednesday, which is dope. Hope people go out and support. But for the most part, like, you're not seeing them against another team in a different jersey do stuff. Even with the quarterbacks. Like, go back to the Hudson Card, Casey Thompson conversation we just had. Like, we're reading stuff about, we don't even know how many picks people threw. Like, think about that. You didn't see, like, none of us saw it, right, with our own eyes. So until I actually see it, because that's how I roll. Until I see it in the games, now we can read stuff and figure out why the coach got to where they got in terms of the depth chart, or in terms of the rotations with the snaps, or why they. Oh, okay, I see why they put so and so at left tackle. Like, I can get that, but at the end of the day, like, we really can't judge too much until the bullets start flying.
Yeah,
because some of these things, we've heard so many things before. We should make a video one day and pull up all the insider things of so-and-so is doing this and so-and-so is doing that. And then things get here and stuff changes. And I'm not saying that's the case with Jordan Whittington. We've seen him have flashes and moments in games. That's why we both felt we didn't even really think about it when we put him here. But the receivers have been having issues. And there's other guys that we're excited about. I'm excited about Xavier Worthy. You can make a great argument for him being on the list. I'm excited about Cavante Dixon. I'm excited about Joshua Moore, who he had on the list last year and had 9 touchdowns. But we're also hearing all these things. And my point is, we're hearing a whole bunch of things. Eventually, we get to see it.
Yeah.
19 days from now, we get to see it. So I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to get everybody's feedback on our list here in the comment section. Make sure you comment and like below. This is the beginning of our season preview series. Quick recap. We got Jordan Whittington as our number 1 overall player. We had Christian Jones moving over to left tackle as our number 2 player. We right now have Hudson Card / Casey Thompson / whoever's going to be the starting quarterback and Steve Sarkisian's offense at number 3. We have Ojomo at number 4. We'll love his upside. And Jerrin Thompson round out the top 5 in the defensive backfield. Tran, thank you so much for joining me once again. Year 3.
Yep.
Starting out, bigger and better. Got my boy Matthew here. Appreciate your production and helping us out with everything on the channel as well, Matthew. Thank you. Guys, go check out our video. We did a video yesterday drafting the Big 12 teams, or not the teams, but our Big 12 teams.
Yeah.
And with Texas Platinum. So shout out to Matt Madrid.
It's always a good time with him.
Absolutely, Trevor. So we had a blast. It was really fun. I felt like the conversation we had off camera was even funnier than the conversation on camera. That's really how it goes, man. It's a good vibe from those guys. So make sure you check out their video, subscribe to their channel, help them grow. Just some young Texas students who want to provide content, provide their perspective from a student standpoint. So, guys, we appreciate y'all. And remember, Horns always up.